Hey, it's been a long time since I've uploaded a video on this channel, and I wanted to upload a Minecraft video but had no clue what to make. So I ended up not uploading at all until now. There's only two things I like to do during my pastimes. It's playing Minecraft and reading stories. These stories can come from anywhere, might be it fiction, sci-fi, or just stories about people's lives. So I have prepared five stories for you guys to listen and chill on. Okay, first story. Am I overreacting for rejecting a guy after he turned our coffee date into a full dinner with gifts? I, a 29-year-old female, usually date people close to my age, and my Bumble age range is set to 28 to 32. I matched with this guy, 32 male, whose profile seemed nice. We ended up talking for about 2 weeks because our schedules didn't line up, but we had good conversations. Eventually, we decided to meet. He lives about 30 minutes away, so we agreed to meet in a small city halfway between us. For first dates, I strongly prefer something low pressure, so we agreed on coffee and a walk. I don't like committing to full meals with someone I've never met. We met in the early afternoon. He was waiting for me at the train station, and when I arrived, he was visibly nervous, shaking at some point, and said, "Sorry, you're so pretty. I'm really nervous." I reassured him and tried to make things comfortable. Then he said, "Okay, let's go. I reserved a restaurant." He said he wanted to surprise me, so he had already reserved the table, ordered, and paid. I told him I had already eaten because I was expecting just coffee and walk. But he insisted we go since everything was already done. I felt awkward and didn't want to be rude, so I agreed. We want to we went to a nice Italian restaurant, and before I could even look at the menu, the server told us our food was almost ready. He had ordered for both of us. So we ordered drinks. When the food came, I tried it, but I didn't like it, and I was already full. I ate a few bites to be polite and then stopped. My plate was basically untouched. He finished his food and seemed to love it. So I told him he could have mine if he wanted to, so it wouldn't go to waste. We switched plates and he ate my portion too. While we were sitting there talking, he suddenly said he had a gift for me and asked me to close my eyes. He handed me a wrapped present. I thanked him but said he really shouldn't have and that I hadn't gotten him anything. When I opened it, it was a really nice looking necklace. I immediately gave it back and said I couldn't accept it. He insisted but eventually took it back. And then he said he had another gift. Despite me saying he didn't need to, he handed me a small jar of homemade marmalade that he said he made himself. That felt less intense, so I accepted it to be polite and thanked him, even though I felt a bit pressured. I forgot to mention he looked much older and much bigger than his pictures. I hadn't expected that at all. But since I was already there and the plan was supposed to be short and casual, I told myself I'd get through it politely and go home. At some point, I casually asked how old he was. He said he was 43. I was shocked and told him his profile said 32. He insisted he was 43, so I pulled up his Bumble profile. It definitely said 32. Then I noticed that in his bio, among other things, there was a pin emoji followed by the number 43 with no explanation. Anyone could easily miss that. I asked why he didn't just list his real age. He said he had entered it wrong when creating his account. Bumble wouldn't let him change it, and he was too lazy to make a new one. At this point, I was emotionally checked out. Mostly he talked and I listened. A trauma dumped about a knee surgery, his mom's death, his dad's cancer, and his sister's serious health issues. It was heavy and very one sided. He also went on about how women don't like him because he's too nice. Is he though? He said women go on dates with him, realize he's a nice guy, and then ghost him. He said if he were mean like other men, women would like him more. I told him I didn't agree, and then that women don't hate nice men. I personally like kind men, and that it might be more about connection rather than him being too nice. He didn't really take that in, and kept circling back to the same idea. As it got dark, I said it was getting late and that we should head out. When the waiter brought the bill, I suggested we split it. He refused and said, I don't let girls pay on the first date. The waiter was standing there waiting, and I didn't want to make it more uncomfortable, so I said okay and thanked him. We walked to the train station and waited for my train. While we were waiting, he asked if we should plan our second date right then. I said maybe we could just text later. When my train arrived, he leaned in for a kiss. I turned my head and gave him a hug instead and went home. Okay. The next day, he texted me asking to plan another date. Suggested a day and time. I replied politely and said that I enjoyed meeting him, but after reflecting, I didn't feel we had a connection and that it didn't make sense to go on another date. I said I wanted to be honest rather than lead him on, and wished him the best. He did not take that well. He replied angrily, saying he didn't expect this from me and that I was just like the other woman. He accused me of using him for gifts and a free dinner. I was genuinely confused and told him I never asked for gifts or dinner. I asked him to send me his account details so I could reimburse him for the food and the marmalade, if that's how he felt, and I also offered to send the marmalade back. That only made him more defensive. He said he didn't need any money and doubled down, accusing me of using him. He said just because you're pretty, you think you can treat men badly and use them for free stuff, and called me an asshole. At that point, I realized there was no productive conversation to be had. I replied with a simple, okay, thank you, I wish you all the best, and blocked him. So I'm asking, did I really overreact and reject a nice guy? Okay, the woman did not do anything wrong. The woman did not overreact at all. Okay? At first, they talked and they chatted that they would only have a walk and what was that? I think a coffee and a walk. But the man quickly went in like a full blown date with a restaurant and with some gifts, a necklace. Material things are not what you're gonna get a girl's approval, bro. Okay, I'm just shocked on what happened, but the girl did not overreact. It was right. She felt, I think, overwhelmed, and with all the gifts, the preparing, the planning, and I think the guy's actions, like the surprise restaurant and the gift, should be like on the fourth date or like somewhere over, like when you guys have a connection. It's not it's not that it's like the first date. You guys even don't know like your characteristics, or like you didn't even have time to like show yourselves to each other. And then bro also lied on his Bumble account that he was 32 years old. He's actually 43, and he was lazy to make a new one. So I think the girl did not overreact. I think it was the best action she did. I think the girl also, like, she was actually trying genuinely to be polite. Like all the actions she tried to did, or she try and do. So I think the man just I think the man's desperate, dude. Like, he just wants someone. He's trying to shoot a shot on the first try, and then he's not really getting to know the girl because during the conversations it was one-sided and mostly about the boy or the man. We could call him a boy, actually. So I think that's it for this story. It's actually a pretty good story, but okay, second story. Am I overacting for crying over my hair being straightened? Okay, this is a minor 13-year-old female, have very curly hair, and I love the fact that I do have curly hair. It makes me feel so much more confident in myself, and it feels like I'm in my purest form, okay? But I've grown up always getting my hair straightened, and sometimes even getting silk presses. My mom always hated the fact me and my sister have curly hair, so I basically grew up with straight hair. I cut my hair months ago and finally started wearing an afro. My sister, who has way more curly hair than me, taught me how to take care of my curly hair. But today, my mom promised me she wouldn't straighten my hair and that she will only dry my hair with a hair dryer. So I said yes, and she started drying my hair until she started downright straightening my hair. I got a bit confused and I said, Mom, why are you straightening my hair? You're supposed to be drying it. She ignored me until I repeated my question 3 times. She then hit the side of my head. I feel like I provoked her into that reaction, so I kinda deserved it. So I knew I had to stay silent until she finishes straightening my hair. After she finished straightening my hair, I looked into the mirror and randomly started crying. I looked so ugly and I looked like I'm trying to impersonate someone. I felt so disgusted in that moment and broke into full tears, saying shit like, I look so ugly now, I hate this so much. My mom then slapped me, so I stayed silent. But I'll admit the slap wasn't hard, so I'm grateful she wasn't aggressive with it. I feel like it was so obnoxious of me to start crying. I literally cried so loud, a fucking newborn baby. So I understand why mom was pissed with me, like my meltdown was insufferable. But at the same time, I don't like the fact she lied to me and told me she's only gonna dry my hair, not full on straightening. Am I overreacting? Bro, you did not overreact. You're a 13-year-old female, and you want to have curly hair, and that's valid. That's genuinely valid. And then your mom slapping you like said no, you can't have like curly hair. It's just unjustifiable, and it's not. It isn't. I don't even understand why your mom does that. Like, oh my god, you're not overacting. Like, you're absolutely not overacting. Like, you even asked, and then she just stayed silent. She didn't even tell you why she straightened your hair. Okay, third story. Am I the a-hole for making my dad and 13-year-old brother cook for themselves for the first time ever? Is this a mother? Okay, let's read it. So I need an outside perspective because my dad says I was cruel. Oh no, it's he. Okay, but I honestly feel relieved. For context, my dad is in his 50s and has never cooked a meal in his life. My mom does all the cooking, and when she gets angry because she's tired of doing chores all day with cooking, he taunts her or complains instead of helping. I've been cooking since I was 12, so when my mom doesn't feel well or is busy, I usually step in. My brother is 13 and also expects either my mom or me to cook for him. My mom does sometimes tell them to cook, but she always gives in and ends up doing it herself. So nothing ever changes. Recently, my mom went out of town for 3 days. I decided I wasn't going to enable this anymore. I made my dad and brother cook for themselves for the first time ever. Important detail, I did not leave them with nothing. Rice and quinoa were already cooked. They only had to make 2 omelets, fried potatoes. I can do that. Okay. So very basic food. They did manage to cook it. Nobody starved. Nothing got ruined. Okay, that's good. But my dad absolutely lost it. Oh my god. He scolded me and said I was 4 times worse than my mom. He acted like I'd done something unforgivable. Meanwhile, I actually feel relieved because for once I did not cover for their behavior or take on responsibility. That shouldn't be mine. So am I the a-hole for forcing them to cook instead of doing it myself like always? Okay, this shouldn't be the question. The question is your father overreacting for making him cook food? Bro's in his 50s. I'd get it for his brother who is 13, but bro needs to know how to cook. Or needs to learn how to start cooking. Is that right, grammar? Okay, never mind. But no, you're not the a-hole on this. Um, Teaching to cook is like just basic. You know, if the father is alone, hopefully not, but if the father is alone, how is he gonna survive? He's gonna live on like DoorDash or like food out of delivery services and just get like fat and very unhealthy quickly. Same goes with the brother who's 13, but bro can still be changed. But you're not the a-hole on this at all. Okay, this one is pretty long. So this is, I think, the fourth story. Yeah, this is the fourth story. Okay. Fourth story. So this one is from r/advice. So probably I'm gonna give advice to this. My family is in financial ruin and there's nothing I can do about it. Okay. My mom's been unemployed for about 2 years. This isn't due to a lack of effort or qualifications. She has a PhD in a relatively specialized field, which limits the types of roles she can apply for. Funding in that area has been pretty limited, and there aren't many positions available, especially for someone at her level of experience. She spends most of her days in meetings and actively working toward finding another opportunity. Okay. Part of the reason she hasn't taken a job outside her field is that she started a business a few years ago and invested a lot of money into it and has produced zero ROI. So that's a large contributor to her financial situation. Aw, okay. Not only that, she continues to put a lot of time and work into it. Sometimes like something like sunk cost fallacy, okay. With that background out of the way, for some who doesn't know the sunk cost fallacy, it's you put so much effort on something, it's hard to stop putting effort on that thing. I think that's the easiest way to explain what a sunk cost fallacy is. With that background out of the way, my parents have been divorced since I was young. Recently, I moved 5 hours away to live with my dad and accepted a job that I'll be starting soon. My mom's in her early 60s and has built up a large amount of debt. Oh no. During the time she's been unemployed, mostly just to cover basic living expenses. She can't take on more debt at this point. Because of that, she listed our house for sale a couple months ago. We're waiting for it to sell so she can pay off the debt and have some money to live on. Right now, she has about $1,600 total to get by until the house sells. Oh, once the house does sell, I'll need to drive 5 hours back and stay for about a week to help pack everything up. I don't mind helping, but there's a real chance that taking that time off could cost me my job. On top of all this, my brother, who's 24, is also in a lot of debt. We found we found out today that his car is going to be repossessed. I know logically that it isn't my responsibility to carry the consequences of the decisions that led to the situation. Still, I've struggled with severe anxiety my whole life, and I feel overwhelmed and guilty almost all the time. Beyond the emotional weight, my mom having to move could affect my life in practical ways too. I'm a high school senior, and I don't know if I'll be forced to transfer school or lose my eligibility for the dual enrollment program I'm currently in. My dad's financially stable, okay? And I'm grateful that he can support me. Because of that, my life isn't completely upended. That said, it doesn't make this feel any less heavy or distressing. That's actually true. I think about this constantly. I feel very little hope, and it's hard not to feel like giving up. I feel a lot of pressure to make a lot of money as fast as possible so I can help my family. Same here, bro. But knowing that I can't realistically do that right now has pushed me into a cycle of anxiety and depression. Ooh. I don't know how I'm supposed to keep functioning with this weight on my mind. I understand logically that things could improve and that my family may be okay in the long run. But emotionally, it feels like my life is already over. Apologies for the long post. I just don't know what to do at this point. I really need some advice or slash help. I'm 17, and the dual enrollment program I mentioned essentially makes me a college freshman, even though I haven't received my high school diploma yet. Oh, okay. All my classes are online through this college, which is how I'm able to stay 5 hours away with my dad. I left out some detail, I guess partially due to embarrassment, but financial ruin might have a slight exaggeration, although it doesn't feel like an exaggeration to me. It's about 90,000 of debt for my mom. 90K in debt. It's still big actually. Actually, it's a big amount. Very big amount. I have no idea about my brother, but it's definitely less than that. Hopefully much less. My mom's PhD isn't super specialized, but it's definitely not common. It's not something stupid like underwater basket weaving like some comments have said. Despite struggling mentally, I'm staying on top of my education with a 3.8 college GPA for my first sem. Damn, that's pretty high. I'm hoping to maintain that this upcoming semester, but it might be difficult. I don't know how to give advice to especially those who have anxiety and depression because it's difficult to give advice. Actually, you shouldn't give advice. You should just listen to what they say and just, you know, go down to their position and comfort them and reassure them that you, as a fellow decent human being and a friend, maybe, that you're there to support, to give them your reassuring support that you're actually there. I want to check the comments of this. One said, once the house sell, I'll need to drive 5 hours back. Okay, well, you're also in school, so how would you live for a week anyway? What was the mom's PhD? It didn't actually specify. It isn't super specialized. I mean, I don't know what exactly your situation is or like there, but your mom could get a job, a side job, not related to her PhD, but something just to ease off the debt, plus also just to give her more money to actually genuinely try to live and spend for basic expenses. That's 90K in debt is very big, and your brother is also in debt. So, even your mom is actually going, is already at 60s, I think. Oh, your father is financially stable, but your father doesn't have an obligation to your mom. So, this is difficult. I can't really give advice. Maybe just for the depression and for the anxiety, it's just, take it easy. Release the pressure. Just don't feel like, or I know it's your mom and your brother, but try and don't put all of the pressure on you. Try and help in any way you can, and try to reassure also your brother and your mom that things will be all right. You know, give positivity even in the face of a very negative situation. Try to stay positive. Not gaslighting, but just try to stay positive. Reassure yourself that you can do it. You're still young. You still have a lot of opportunity in your life. But just try to not push, just don't try to put the weight of the world on your shoulders. So I think that's the only reassuring comments I could give for this fourth story. It's actually a pretty sad story, to be honest. Okay. So I think this is the fifth story. So we're gonna read today, and I probably think this is gonna be the last story for today. So let's read it. So, am I the asshole for kicking my mentally ill brother out of my house when he was treating my wife like garbage? Okay, so I am a 34-year-old male. I am married and own a home with my wife, who is a 26-year-old female in Los Angeles. I have a younger brother who is a 32-year-old male, and he has never lived on his own. Okay, he lived with his dad until around 24. Then he moved into his girlfriend's parents' house until he was like 28. They broke up, so my dad gifted him a condo that was above his business. He got a ton of free passes with my dad. He trashed the condo, didn't take care of anything, and my dad finally decided to retire and sell it because he couldn't take it anymore. My brother is also on his third car, okay, all bought by our grandfather. About 4 months ago was when he got kicked out. He came to our door begging, and I knew exactly how it was going to go. I told him he had 1 month to get his shit together and kept caving. My wife is an actress and she only books about once every 6 months. She does auditions and classes daily for an hour or two. She mostly does housewife stuff. I told him right off the bat she was not doing any of it for him. I don't care if he's working 5 jobs, he is doing his own laundry, cleaning, and cooking. Of course, he left messes, threw his laundry on the floor, made the argument that he is working full time and she's not. I was like, this is her home. Then, when I told him he'd have to pay bills 2 months in, he got mad and said she does not pay bills. She is my wife and she takes care of our home. Anytime I told him to stop making extra work for her, he would say she's a housewife. She's doing it for you, so I don't understand why she can't for me. Even ask why I get to have my laundry done and meals cooked for me, but he can't and works as much as me. It drove me crazy. He also would make noises while my wife was in auditions, which was frustrating for her. Not even accidental, like screaming watching a sports game 5 seconds after we told him she was going on Zoom. This was one of my breaking points. She has dedicated her whole life to this since she was like 9. When I started making good money, the first thing I was excited about was that she could focus on her dreams. She finally got a good agent, her auditions she gets are huge, and she is on cloud 9. As soon as he started doing this, I noticed she was getting stressed. One of the main issues is he works nights. He was there all day while I was at work, and if she asked him to be quiet, he did not care. He said he did not consider it a career and he didn't think she'd make it, so he didn't feel the need to care. As if her making it or not change anything about it being her home and her dreams. If I was home and told him to shut up, he would. However, during the day, he did not listen to her and made her cry. It was the day I told him to get out. He had enough free passes. It's time to grow up. My other brothers got mad, said I'm heartless because he's struggling mentally. But the guy has been struggling mentally since he was 16 and has never attempted therapy, meds, anything. He just cries and relies on everyone to do everything. So is he the asshole? No. Basically, no. The brother is the asshole. I think there's no explaining. Anyone who's gonna read the story is gonna think the brother is the asshole. Bro's like a spoiled brat living with his brother and treating her brother's wife like housemaid. The hell? Bro's got almost like free rent, and he treats it like nothing, and he doesn't cherish it. So yeah. Nope, you are not the asshole on this, mate. You've done the right thing, kicking your mentally ill brother. I don't care if he's mentally ill. He should just change his behavior and just get something like some help, proper help. You can't rely on. You have to carry yourself. You can't rely on others to carry you. You have to grow up, dude. So I think that summarizes like this story doesn't need more explaining. The explaining has done itself. So I think that ends it with story 5. So if you're listening to this, it means you've made it to the end of the video. Thank you for staying up to this point of the video, though I do have to apologize because my speaking skills aren't the best. But hopefully as I read more of these stories, I am able to improve my English speaking skills. I'll be uploading more videos like this in the upcoming days, so subscribe so you'll get notified if I upload the next. I'll see you in the next one.